Welcome to this presentation on diversity and working with challenged populations. My name is Professor Alexis de Waele, and within the Erasmus Plus project Socially Engaged Universities, we particularly focus on sharing experience and know-how related to community university partnerships. One of the challenges that we sometimes face in community university partnerships is how to involve challenged or even vulnerable populations. This includes, amongst others, people who have financial problems, who are less vocal, who live in deprived neighborhoods, etc. In this presentation, we focus on how to involve youth and challenged youth in particular in a project on being young and managing the COVID-19 crisis. We certainly do not pretend to have all the answers, but we would like to share some lessons learned from this project. I will start by explaining why we set up this particular project. First, we learned from several studies that of all age categories, young people suffered the most from the lockdown that was initiated in Belgium in March 2020. At the same time, epidemiologists stated that young people might play an important role in the epidemic given the fact that, although they rarely suffer from serious symptoms, they were still able to transmit the virus to older generations. However, we also found that young people were rarely involved in policy and in developing solutions. In the media, they were even often stigmatized for not always following the rules. And last but not least, for some young people, it was more difficult to follow the COVID-19 guidelines due to the context they live in, such as living in a large household in small apartments. Therefore, we wanted to focus on vulnerable youth as well. However, after some discussion, we realized that using vulnerable as a concept is inadequate. In fact, these young people who are in the most challenging conditions, such as poverty or emotional distress, are often also the most resilient individuals. And that is why we eventually choose the term challenged, because it was more truthful as well as more empowering. The second issue that we had to address was, what do we exactly mean when we say challenged youth? You can only involve challenged youth if you know who you want to reach. For us, this was finally narrowed down to those youth who have financial problems at home, who experienced an emotional crisis in the past year, or who are living in poor housing conditions. Eventually, 50% of the young people involved in the project belonged to at least one of these categories. For this project, strong partners with different types of expertise were essential, since we had to deliver results within a period of 8 months. We collaborated with What, an online platform that delivers key messages to youth to help them make informed choices and become critical citizens. What connects with over 80 youth associations in Belgium. Since one of our key outputs was developing video messages for social media platforms such as YouTube, Instagram and TikTok, we also hired a video director for the production process as well as a marketing agency for dissemination and setting up collaboration with social media influencers. Within academia, researchers from 3 faculties, medicine, psychology and arts, and 4 research groups were involved. The results were equally driven by research evidence and by practical knowledge. To develop video content that was created by and for youth, we first organized group discussions with both minors and young adults. Some of the discussions were held online through video conferencing, but for optimally reaching out to minors, we also organized a group chat session on social media. Finally, we organized a field trip to a diverse and densely populated neighborhood in the city of Ghent. The latter enabled us to reach out to those youth who were particularly difficult to recruit for participating in the group discussions, such as Turkish and Moroccan boys. I will not elaborate on all results, but afterwards we realized the importance of the field trip, during which one of our team members talked with social workers active in the neighborhood as well as with young people. We learned to understand that there was a group of youth who were relatively inert for the COVID-19 regulations. They did not really respect law enforcers and were fed up with the lack of leisure activities. This particular group also suffered from additional stress and worries. They felt lonely, but at the same time had a difficult time living in large households in small living spaces. Moreover, language barriers sometimes played a role in getting access to COVID-19 relevant information. So what have we delivered up to this point? First, we published a manual for professionals on developing COVID-19 health messages. Of the young people who participated in the group discussions, about half of them, 10 individuals between 17 and 24 years old, agreed to co-create video content for YouTube, Instagram and TikTok. A brochure with information about how to protect yourself from COVID-19 was translated into 5 languages: English, French, Turkish, Farsi and Arabic. With these languages, we should be able to reach out to most ethnic minority youth as well as newcomers to Belgium. All video content is also available with subtitles in these languages. And finally, together with a marketing agency, we developed a list with 30 potentially influential young people who are active on social media. Eventually, 18 of them agreed to push our campaign on social media. We particularly sought influencers with diverse ethnic minority backgrounds. In the meantime, the video content has been watched by many thousands of young people. Before ending this presentation, we would like to give you a taste of this campaign that was developed for and by youth to collectively tackle the challenge of the corona pandemic. Enjoy.
Ik denk dat veel studenten dat hebben, dat ze zo zich schuldig voelen als ze niets voor school aan het doen zijn, omdat het onderscheid tussen, gewoon tussen school en het normale leven wegviel.
Met wie? Oh my god. Mag je daar even over nadenken, maar echt zo heel even?
Met mijn vriend, mama en zus. Ja, voor altijd. Sowieso.
Met mijn hond.
Mezelf. Dat is de persoon die ik het beste ken uiteindelijk, dus vandaar.
Oh my god. Error. Met mijn oma en opa. Ja, dat zijn de mensen die ik het liefste zie.
Met zangregie. Ik vind die man echt geweldig. Zijn muziek is geweldig, zijn teksten zijn geweldig, zijn imago. Ja, met zangregie, ja.
Timothée Chalamet. Of Chalamet. Chalamet?
Maar eigenlijk nog met meer mensen. Met mijn oma ook nog. En met mijn tante en mijn onkel. Grote bubbel.
Ik zou er veel van kunnen leren, denk ik. En ja, is ook wel niet lelijk.
Oh my god. Ik voel een druk op mij.
Met mijn hond. Omdat die niet per se gemeen tegen mij kan zijn. Die is altijd super lief. Die wil altijd super graag met me spelen als ik beneden kom. En die staat altijd te kwispelen als ik daar ben.
Oké, de persoon waarmee ik in lockdown zou willen gaan, is mijn mama dan. Ze doet alles voor mij en ik kan altijd lachen met haar. En ja, dat is misschien een beste vriendin voor mij ook.